take away the middle penetration, need to be a little bit more aggressive on the ball in order for the defence to have what you would say, Case, a bit more starch.
This is Joe Ingles, wrap-around play. Baines, penetration, down low, off glass, can't convert. And Barnes is there for the rebound. Rushes back up the floor. Marcus Smart in support. Fires quickly and gets it done as well. They've scored the first 5 after scoring the first 6 in game 1.
Well, you have a look at that. Marcus Smart didn't even play in game 1. Comes off, just goes bang from the land of plenty. We need Daly to get fired up. And Landale with the offensive rebound. Doesn't have the same athleticism, but good timing and in the right spot.
And Hammer, I reckon the key to this one as well is going to be Joe Ingles. He's been a little bit down with his shot. Numbers aren't great. If Australia's going to be competitive, need to get a lot more out of Joe Ingles. I'd like to see him get going early as the United States just come out on fire.
Well, they have another 6-point lead here. Barnes scored 5 of their 8. Smart, the only other scorer. They lob the ball inside. Landale shares it now. Baines got a good look at it. Nice off the hand. He comes up with Australia's first triple.
Well, that's an area of his game that has really developed over the last couple of years in the NBA. No problem at all for the corner 3.
Oh, they are unconscious at the moment, the United States. That's 4 of 4, including 3 straight from deep. They have got all the answers. Baines inside Landale. The pass wasn't great, so he was able to knock it down. Dellavedova fires. Great job, Landale, to keep that alive with the offensive rebound. Now Joe Ingles. Shot clock to single digits. Ingles penetration. Baines, well, he's bumped. On the floor is the call from the referee. Jock Landale continues to impress.
And that's where Joe Ingles is at his best on that pick and roll. This is that offensive rebound. Just tucks that in nicely. But the more on-ball screens Joe Ingles can get himself in, the more good things are going to happen for his teammate. He is a quality passer with that sort of length. Really good vision, Drewy.
Spot on, and he uses his size, and his passing ability is absolutely elite, as well as his perimeter shooting. Dale, look, he is great effort on the offensive glass.
And just word coming in that Kuzma won't take any part of the game. I'm a little disappointed. I've liked his work with the peroxide.
And I've liked his work from the land of plenty as well. Just so smooth with that release. Beautiful tempo of the game in which he plays at.
This is Mitchell. No, they force him into error.
Great hands from Paddy Mills there off the dribble against Donovan Mitchell. We know how potent he is.
I tell you,
24 points a game last year, Drew.
He was fantastic.
Exceptional.
And good signs early on. A little bit more motion, a little bit more ball movement we're seeing from the Australian team the first couple of minutes.
Dellavedova for Mills. Shot clock works to 10 once more. Mills almost at the halfway line. USA by 4. Almost 3 minutes played. Opening quarter action. Mills works into the paint. Fall away. Nice finish. His first score in the game.
That's just an NBA move with the point guard being able to find his spot. Similar to what the United States have been doing to Australia. Almost identical that time with Paddy Mills in the middle on ball.
Well, this has been an incredible effort to find ourselves only 2 points down when they're 4 from 4, 4 from 5 from the field, the USA.
Miles Turner misfires. This is Ingles. For Landale again. Finds some space and he throws it down on the USA.
Just as out of your mouth, Hammer, we see the passing and Landale finding the right spots and nice dive action and great pass.
6 unanswered points from the Boomers here. They've got some defence to play here. Free throws to come now for Team USA.
Paddy Mills, he's with the ball and just does it, cuts his defender off to create that space. And Turner wasn't able to get up. And look at Joe Ingles, that size, vision and smarts to find Landale. Good start by Jock Landale. I like his energy.
Well, this is an area now with the United States at the free throw line. Probably one of the rare areas that they were beaten by Australia. They only got 9 free throw attempts for the entire game. Australia got themselves to the line 21 times.
16 of 21 Australia was the other night from the free throw line.
Donovan Mitchell.
Sometimes those numbers with free throws also a reflection perhaps of the aggressiveness of the defence of Australia as well.
Well, that's a good start from Australia as Baines jumps upstairs to throw it down.
And I think Andre Lamanis has challenged you, your coaching thoughts, putting Joe Ingles in another on-ball situation.
Thank you. Finally, that's where we want to see him, because he will serve it up in a platter like we've seen the last 2 possessions.
Middleton fires. It's all the bottom of the net for him as well. 5 of 6 from the field. The USA lead by 2. The Aussies 5 of 8. With a good 63% clip of their own. This is Dellavedova. Good screen from Baines. Just goes exploring with a dribble. Picks it up now. Baines inside. Good position. Flips it over the top. And he's fouled and going to the free throw line.
Aaron Baines, again, working down low. But on this occasion, it's the on-ball screen. Beautiful pass. And good bounce from the big fella. Not a lot of runway to work with, but was able to elevate and tuck it in. Joe Ingles already has got the 3 assists.
Go, play.
8.6 rebounds in 20 minutes in game 1 for Baines. And for a good free throw shooter, it hasn't been his strength in this series. 7 years in the NBA, more than 400 games with Boston, and now on his way to Phoenix. Makes the adjustment, gets the back end there. So it's a 1-point ball game. It took over 4 minutes played. Term number 1. Smart picks up the dribble, hands over. Middleton. Back to Smart. Guarded by Ingles. Shot clock works to single numbers here. He puts it on the floor, Smart. They move it around through sets of hands. Get the look they were after, can't convert. Dellavedova in a rush for Australia. Landale working hard up the floor. Baines gets it from Mills. He goes back in that direction. Mills looking for the penetration now. Finds some space. Landale arcs up the 3. It's off the mark. Baines the tip in. Couldn't get it to work. And now it's off to the races with Donovan Mitchell. Decides to go solo. And it was a good option as Mitchell comes up with his first field goal.
That's how tough they are. That was good defensive transition from the Boomers, but just not good enough, because Mitchell just pulls up on a dime in transition and goes bang. Look at this.
Just got too deep, didn't he? You saw Dellavedova on his heels. He was there in position, more concerned about the play on the rim, but the stop and pop caught him off guard as the big fella Andrew Bogut checks in.
Drewy, the possession before, we saw a little half-court trap and back into a zone. I like that from Andre Lamanis. He's going to have a few tricks up his sleeve come the World Cup.
Working hard for Bogut, and eventually it came back to him, and the bogeyman comes up with his first score. And timeout called here, a little less than 5 minutes to come in the first term.
They're trying to ring the alarm bells. It'd say, well, who can play at this level for the longest? And clearly that would favour the depth of the United States team. So a high-scoring affair. And I think tempo control is going to be vital for Australia. And if it continues this way, you'd have to say the advantage will go to the USA.
Both teams with 4 scorers so far. Middleton gets a good look, can't convert. Mason Plumlee, the offensive rebound, with another opportunity for Team USA. Aussie's doing well on the offensive glass at the moment, 4-1. Here's Walker, who checks into the game and has an immediate impact and opens his account.
Well, that was a great contest from Andrew Bogut, but just better offense from the United States. They know how to make tough shots individually.
Bogut, nice pass inside. Mills can't convert. Plumlee gets it out quickly, and Kemba Walker confronted by Dellavedova. Loses the handle, has to go back and retrieve it. Now some contact, no whistle. Walker goes on with it, and why not when you can finish like that?
He's not bashful. He's coming in a very aggressive mode. And again, a couple of mid-range jumpers. Matty Dellavedova didn't do a lot wrong.
On the hip. Double dribble.
Double dribble was called on Matty. I didn't quite see it. Have a look at Kemba Walker when he comes off those screens. That time there's good help, and I think they're the types of shots that Andre Lamanis has declared that he's going to have to live with, those mid-range contested ones. Here it is, a hint of an offensive foul, and again Walker just creates that separation, and that's enough for a couple of nothing but the bottom of the net shots by Kemba Walker.
Well, he may have just looked over at Pop and said, "You're bringing me off the bench, you're kidding, aren't you?" Here's a couple of little buckets for you straight away.
The USA 8 on the shot clock. They need to get busy. This man can do that. Tatum fires. Can't connect, and Bogut the rebound. A little bit going on between Bogut and Plumlee as well. We'll keep a close eye on that. 3.5 left here. Opening quarter action from Melbourne. Mills pass. Well, it's off the mark. Landale couldn't reel it in, and Bogut's going to pick up the foul there.
And did well to disguise that. He was in front, he reached in. They're concerned about Paddy Mills and Jock Landale. Is just concerned about what happened down the other end. Paddy tried the entry pass, but they were claiming that John Landale got pushed in the back, and that's why he couldn't catch it.
Well, the positive thing about this start for Australia is only 2 points between Mills, Ingles and Dellavedova, and we've got 16 points on the board. So pretty good start considering some of our stars haven't been able to score early.
So a chance for the USA to come forward. Kemba Walker was going solo at the moment, and look at that finish. He's now up to 7 in the game, including 3 and 3 from the field and a game-high 8-point lead.
And this is the danger for Australia. You can't give up 24 points 7 minutes into the first quarter.
We're on a 7-0 run here, Team USA, as Ingles works into the corner. Catch and shoot came from that man, Chris Golding, and he picks up where he left off in game 1.
Oh, that was against a contested hand as well, that baseline.
Oh, he's doing it at the defensive end as well. How about that from Golding? But they need to contain this man, Kemba Walker.
He is. He scored the last 7 for the United States. And again, another beautiful stroke he's got. And Chris Golding in the corner. Great pass. Again, really good vision. Chris Golding coming off a career game for Australia. And he stays hot.
And Joe Ingles 4 assists out of a team total of 6.
Here is Ingles. Picks up the dribble, needs help. Back to Mills with 7 on the shot clock for the Boomers. Mills elects to fire from deep, it's short. Landed in the lap there of Joe Harris, who grabs it and hands over now. A chance for Jason Tatum. Bounce pass, Plumlee mishandled it. Need to reset here, and this man can reset before a blink of an eye. This time he's off the mark. Well, he had to miss a shot sooner or later, Kemba Walker. Golding into the corner, Mills working baseline, Ingles wide open. Can't complete it. Great job there from Jaylen Brown to bring that down and win the rebound for USA. Rebound count 8-6 Australia so far. Harris relieved the possession. And now Joe Ingles with Bogut in support. Nick Kay hands over to Mills. Slower tempo from the Boomers as Bogut gets it. Shot clock to single digits. Now on the floor wants Ingles rolling to the hoop from close range. He gets the 2 to open his scoring account.
Another super pass by Andrew Bogut.
Timeout called by the USA. 1:31 left on the clock here in this opening quarter, and a 3-point buffer with Australia scoring the last 5 to get themselves back into the frame. And that layup, an easy 2, just what Joe Ingles needed.
Well, it's amazing how many open shots Joey's missed. We know he's a world-class shooter, and the majority of them have hit the front of the rim. A lot of short shots from Joe Ingles. Needs to make an adjustment.
Let's hear what
Just to remind me.
Had a little something to say, did he?
He didn't, but his supporters certainly said,
Okay.
well, have you had a look at the latest highlight reel from the big man? So, but terrific work by Andrew Bogut.
Pretty good company.
He is, absolutely.
Tatum left alone from close range. Well, Bogut got there late, but was there quickly enough to worry him out of the points. Plumlee can't control it. It trickles out of bounds in Australia with a chance to eat into this buffer even further.
And Andrew Bogut plays a critical role in this team. Coming off the bench, he's perfect in my mind. Such a great passer. You see him as a rim protector there. He's used to doing it against NBA superstars, so certainly not intimidated either.
Ingles from close range, hands over to Nick Kay. Pass was deflected, and now Kemba Walker with it for the United States. Scott Jaylen Brown working with him. That's a tough shot, but he made it look easy to come up with his first score in the game.
And that's the thing, when you're looking at this USA team, they're 10 of 16, 62% from the field, and a lot of it's just better offense is beating pretty good defense. Now, the intensity, the ball pressure, there's a lot of things you can focus on, but it's not like that the Boomers are just chumps out here. They're applying themselves. It's just really, really good offense right now by the United States and good finishing.
Campbell given onto the floor for the Boomers inside the last minute of this opening term. Ingles guarded by Jaylen Brown. A clear out for him. Here's Nick Kay rolling down to the low block. Did well, protected the ball and came up with the finishing touches.
That's 12 points now have come from points in the paint for Australia. So they're doing a good job with that cutting action and finding them for those points around the basket.
Donovan Mitchell picks up the dribble. Needs support, gets it back from Tatum. Now it's on the floor, spinning one way, back the other. Well done, Nick Kay. Just shut him down. Shot clock rolls to red numbers. It's short, and the Boomers have it with the last play of the opening term. Ingles draws contact. Foul's going to be on Brown. It's going to be his second personal.
Nick Kay really needs to establish himself and find his role in this team. And with Jonah Bolden no longer in the squad, opportunity's going to be there. There you see the foul on Brown.
Good foul.
It is a very good foul.
Recognise they weren't in the bonus.
3.5 to play, term number 1. Ingles knocked down, couldn't get a whistle. Bogut's forced to fire. It's off the front of the rim, and entertaining first term concludes here in game 1. It was the USA by 2 at quarter time.
Only 2 points in the last 3 minutes, so a real change in their defensive outcomes, and rebounding is been in Australia's favour. 10-6, they lead it in that first quarter.
And they've been very unselfish. 8 assists to only 3 for the Americans. The Americans want to get it done with individual brilliance. They've got the ability to break their man down, score against an opponent where you see this sort of ball movement and man movement. They rely on each other.
This is Bogut. Firing over the top, whistle on the play, he gets it, chance at a three-point play, and a quick foul called on Brook Lopez.
And although he's right-handed, this is where he's at his best. Coming to the middle, that nice little baby hook with the left, great touch by the big fella, and goes to the line for the potential three-point play, and much improved in this area. He spends a lot of time working on his free throws. He's very committed to it, and he's seeing the results. Again, like you mentioned, Hammer, a little 1-2-2 half-court trap action by Australia, and it comes up, almost trumps.
Shot clock works to 10. They're hardly into their offensive set at the moment. Marcus Smart fires, whistle on the play. Referees tonight, Michael Aylen, John Chapman, Chris Reed.
Well, I think the advantage for Australia trying to play with some sort of half-court traps is the NBA guys don't play against it. You very rarely see that sort of defense in the NBA, and I think that we have to have those sort of tactics up our sleeve, in and out of zones, man-to-man, half-court traps, just to disrupt what they're trying to do in the way they normally play.
True, and I think that you can't stay in it too long because the athleticism of the Smart, they figure it out, but to throw it in every now and again, and that trap there was more about just trying to delay the game, delay the shot attempt, get it lower into the shot clock than it necessarily was about trying to get a steal, which they almost came up with.
But the other thing it does too is when you're in a zone, you've got different rotations and different ways to defend any of the pick and rolls. You're not relying on the big guy from the back line. The other guard can come across, and it makes them do something a little bit different.
And usually in the zone, in good ones, there's built-in help.
USA back on top by 2. Early stages, term number 2. Ingles had the ball knocked away. Nick Kay gets after it. Harassed all the way there by Harrison Barnes. They've got 8 on the shot clock here, still in the backcourt, so Golding needs to get busy. Top of the key, he's going to fire the 3. Caught it deep. Long rebound comes to Marcus Smart. Lopez with it. Now Tatum, who shares it across with Joe Harris. Guarded by Golding in the corner. Stepped out of court. Don't tell Shane Hill.
One of my pet hates, Case. Do not like it at all. I see too many people practice making bad habits and stepping out of bounds in practice as well.
That was a little bit different. I think you give credit to the Australians' defence for more of this one. I know you've got to know where you are on the floor, but they were pushed out. Really good defensive set. In the last 4 or 5 minutes by Australia, they're the ones that have cranked it up on the defensive end.
Dellavedova getting some treatment, needs help. This is Ingles. Works into the paint, largely uncontested and off glass, adds another 2 to tie it away at 28.
Again off the pick and roll for Joe Ingles.
Oh, what a hustle that was. Matty Dellavedova getting down, getting it done as he wrestles the ball away from Team USA.
And that's his trademark. Get up and in, put pressure on the ball, and that ultimately has to become the trademark of the Australian team. And over the first 3 games, we've seen improvements on the defensive end every single time.
I like this a lot. 90 seconds done. Term number 2, level terms. Dellavedova with it. Ingles, extra pass. Kay, no room for his shot. Glidden, though, fires, can't connect. Harris grabs the rebound.
Beautiful set, though. Good ball movement, unselfishly finding the open man. Glidden couldn't knock it down, but I like the process that they're going through on the offensive end.
Well, going hard at it, but denied was Joe Harris. So the D good again from the Boomers as Ingles brings them up the floor. Game working to the foul line and now decides to fire over the top. Australia in front for the first time in the game.
That is a great sign for the Boomers. The great man Joe Ingles now with 6 points, 3 from 4 from the field. We've pumped him up about his ability to bring other people into the game with 5 assists as well.
Here's Harris once more, sharing around the perimeter. Barnes firing. Marcus Smart can't connect. Glidden the rebound and he feeds Ingles. Australia with momentum here at the moment. They enjoy a 2-point lead and Ingles decides to go back-to-back, can't convert as Tatum grabs the rebound. Getting some latitude, which is never a good thing. Goes backwards though. Lopez fires. It's off the mark. Rebound snatched there by Harrison Barnes, and he draws a foul.
Look at Nick Kay just trying to find his identity in this team, and that will go a long way to doing that. Great block, and Joe Ingles, like you mentioned, finds his spot, steps back, mid-range, nothing but the bottom of the net. But on the defensive end, in the last 6 minutes, the United States have only made the 1 field goal.
And this is a good challenge for the United States, who are, very new together. One of the mantras from Coach Popovich is composure and poise. And being headed by the Boomers for a brief minute is that's what they're going to have to come up with to be able to work their way through in the second half of this second quarter.
Mills bobbled the pass but collects it and goes to Landale. Foul going to be called off the ball. Looks as though Lopez is in the vicinity. And he's picked up another. He picked up early fouls in game 1, Brook Lopez, and he's got problems here again, just being caught tugging at the shirt of Aaron Baines. So the Aussies doing a good job of it at the moment as Baines, top of the key, hands over to Mills. He wheels around, thought about the 3, and just skims away. Out of court.
Oh my, she certainly do not expect to see that from someone like Paddy Mills, one of our best shooters of all time.
Yeah, he's a star, and the good thing about Paddy, he can have those ones, and that one barely grazing the rim. Does not seem to affect him. His body language, he stays with it. Joe Ingles doing what Joe Ingles does with those long Inspector Gadget arms, able to deflect the ball and come up with something cheap for the Boomers. Chris Middleton says, you can't be that casual with Joe around. And collects the foul as well. Great work by Joe. I love the extended defense, and that's another thing across an 82-game season. You don't see a lot of extended full-court defense in the NBA. And again, just a little different look that they're thrown at the Team USA.
71% free throw shooter in the NBA, Joe Ingles. That's the 3rd team foul on the USA in this term as well. And we played a tick over 3 minutes, so that is a minor concern that they will need to manage. As Ingles puts Australia back on top, 32-31. Here's Mitch Creek checking in to give Ingles a rest.
I'm a bit surprised that Andre Lamanis didn't stay with Andrew Bogut for a little bit longer. I thought his impact off the bench was impressive in small minutes. 5 points, a couple of boards, he got an assist, a steal as well.
Yeah, he's gone to his bench a lot earlier, deeper in his bench a lot earlier. Glidden already seeing some action.
Here's Middleton with it. Shot clock works to single digits now as he shares it to Marcus Smart. Against Baines, we caught him a little off balance and he gets down low enough. Glass adds another 2. So Mills rushes up the floor, just exploring. In a mismatch here against Lopez. He's drawn him out of his comfort zone, might fancy his chances. Now the lob pass, we wanted Landale, that was ambitious. And eventually Middleton put a stop to it. Not a lot of support ahead of him, but he may not be discouraged by that. Here's Middleton once more, getting it back from Lopez, firing unsuccessfully. So the shooting woes continue for the USA in this term. Just 2 of 6 from the field. And credit the Aussie D, Landale. Outside, Baines, firing, can't connect. Landale, the offensive rebound, and draws another foul. That's 4 fouls on the USA in this term.
Much better job on the boards tonight for the Boomers. Tough task coming out against the athleticism and the experience of this USA team, but Australia has been up to the task as we see Smart take it at his ex-teammate Aaron Baines.
Here we go.
Great finish around the basket, isn't it? Tremendous touch, good instinct.
Dellavedova, one way, back to the left-hand side, needs help. Landale puts it on the floor, an opening presents itself. Off glass, can't convert. Pressure came there from Team USA and Kemba Walker. Back up the floor, greeted by Mitch Creek. Middle stages, term number 2. It's a 1-point spread at the moment. After we started this term with the USA on top by 3. Here's Middleton, penetration. Worried out of the points. And the foul. Fantasy bonus situation. The foul called on the USA and free throws to come here for the Boomers.
Probably in the rebounding contest, I'm guessing. Here we see Middleton get to the rim, and yeah, just a little push up, push off, turn up, so in the back, so he walked the length of the floor, and Jock Landale goes.
Not much in it.
Very little in that one. I think Landale did a really good job of selling it as well.
Well, I think you can stop it. Really good job. I think Landale's doing an excellent job. All 3 games he's played.
He's been impressive. He really has been one of the shining lights. From probably most people who didn't know a lot about him, didn't have this expectation, but he's played himself into a major role come the World Cup, and it started with a standout performance against Canada a week ago.
I think it really started for him in the Summer League when he was over in the United States playing with the Milwaukee Bucks. Averaged 18 points a game, 42% from the three-point line throughout the Summer League. That'll get you some attention. And my understanding is he's offered NBA contracts, but he's locked into his deal with Zalgiris. And there we see a foul, and that's one that Matty Dellavedova.
I didn't call a hands foul, I called a blocking foul. You got it.
Gee, we've seen a lot worse contact than that not called.
It's soft.
Second foul on Matty Dellavedova, 3rd team foul on Australia. USA in the bonus at the moment. Still 5 minutes remaining here, term number 2. Elevation came there from Mitchell, but it's off the mark. Shooting woes continue here. They can't buy a bucket at the moment, the USA. And Dellavedova goes back at Mitchell to draw a foul on him, and now there's more free throws for Australia.
Timeout.
Last night with Collingwood as they took on Essendon, and of course played college ball in the States.
Case you accused me when I went to Kevin Pangos and labelled him a superstar. Was it you or Hammers? Just was it you? Shot me down. I'm not sure, Mason Cox. He is a terrific player.
Did you see the preliminary final last year?
Well,
He got them into the grand final.
One
I think he's
swallow
better
doesn't
known.
make a summer, as someone once told me.
I'm easily impressed.
I think he's got a higher reputation here than he does for his college basketball career.
Oh, no
Back at
doubt.
home,
No, he's
but,
a ripping fella too. And he hosted, I believe, a lot of the NBA guys at the Collingwood Essendon game last night to talk them through the finer points of the game.
Well, they've got their hands full here at the moment, Team USA, and you won't hear that too often. Down at the moment with foul troubles and with an inability to knock down a field goal so far in this second term. Shot clock rolls to 5. The Australians are all over them again. Will they get one off? I don't know. He travelled. Oh, go Australia.
Have a look at that. Tough, passionate defense that has America on their heels. You love it. Look at the excitement from Jock Landale when he was able to cause that violation. Great stuff.
Yeah, that'll be shown on the review a number of times and say, well, this is what we want our brand to look like. And Patty Mills gets fouled, attempting a 3. So a real opportunity now to ask some questions of this United States team and see where their mindset's at, where when the ball's not dropping, when it's not getting done on the offensive end, how do they stand up?
It's very tough to defend that. When you're locking and trailing a player like Patty Mills, which you have to, you can't go under any on-ball screen. If he stops up as quickly as what he does then, the momentum takes you into being able to foul him, and this might be exactly what Patty Mills needs to get going. He's 1 from 5 from the field, and sometimes, as you know, Drewy, you get a couple of cheapies from the free throw line, and the next time he gets his feet set from the 3, it's net.
You never worry about Paddy's numbers. You know he's always going to believe that the next one's going in. Unlike some players, you can almost see the nervousness about them when they've missed a few, but not Patty Mills.
6 unanswered points from the Australians. They have a 5-point lead. Their biggest lead in game 1 was a 3-point edge in the second quarter, and there's certainly parallels between game 1 and this game where Australia made their move at the start of the second. And the USA Well, they need to find a way to score here at the moment. They are struggling. This is White, who's checked in, looking to make something happen. Rushes to the hoop, couldn't get the finish, but he's drawn a foul. Free throws to come.
That was unfortunate because great defense from Matthew Dellavedova. Good pick and roll defense too. Look at Aaron Baines. He didn't commit fully because if he had, they would have just dumped it off over the top for an easy dunk. But he sort of kept the offensive player guessing.
And the key to that is Matty Dellavedova's ability to get over the screen, and the chase is a lot shorter for him to get back in front. Now, he never got there completely because he committed the foul, but the intensity and effort that is required to do that is very, very difficult, and he is one of the best at it.
And 3 fouls for Matthew Dellavedova now. That's why he's taking a seat. Paddy Mills will now play point guard minutes. So he's played from the shooting guard for the time he's played so far tonight. Make that adjustment now, which he's more than capable of doing a good job with.
Here's Mitch Creek. Landale goes back to Creek. Muscles into the paint from close range. Nice finish for Mitch Creek to get his scoring account open.
Good use of the body, wasn't it? Down low, just used his strength, lower legs, and powered up through. Made it look real easy.
Inside the last 4 minutes of a first half, where Australia enjoying a 5-point edge. Here's Kemba Walker with it, guarded by Mills. Shot clock rolls to 7. Jaylen Brown needs help, provided by Turner. An unlikely conveyance, so he hands. Oh, he's fouled Derek White. Hit on the head was the call from referee Chris Reed, and Joe Ingles are not best pleased.
Well, I think they guessed on that foul and guessed wrong, according to Joe Ingles. No.
All ball with the hand. I think what the one he's got him with is just the elbow to the head. And unlucky.
What about, we got a chance to speak to the great Jeff Van Gundy in the warm-ups, and he said, did you go to the footy last night? He said, yeah, I did. He says, those guys are tough. He said, you couldn't play 82 games of that. He said, I reckon Mitch Creek could play that sport. Any man with a leg tattoo like that and a mullet could play AFL footy.
And Jeff, let's not remember, he's had a big part of this whole campaign. He coached the team throughout the qualifiers the last two 18 months or so that got them there. They went 10-2 in the America zone and finished on top, and did a wonderful effort with players coming from Europe, calling on American players from all over the world, and him bringing them together. He had a tough assignment, did really, really well.
Don't worry about any of that. He is the best in the business of commentating. He is very entertaining.
So Australia by 3. Took over 3 minutes out from half-time. Still, the USA with just 2 field goals in this quarter. Look at Mills, look off the D and get down low and add another 2.
Great pass. Again, Andrew Bogut. When he plays in that high post position, you see everybody get excited, moving without the ball to get cheapies.
Top of the key. This is Brown firing and filling it up. A much-needed bucket for the USA.
And that's the problem you have when you're showing so high. That time I thought Jock Landale made the adjustment, was really high, but it was the step back. His man stepped back for the 3 and good enough to knock it down.
Paddy Mills with it. Shot clock at 10. Trying to move away from Walker. Gets it back in rhythm. Fires unsuccessfully. Tatum got a piece of it. And he's got help down there as well, as they reel it in. And a chance now for Team USA to tie it away. And it's 6. And they have tied it. 42 apiece. 2:20 to play in the first half. Timeout called here. 88 was the final there. It was an entertaining affair. We saw Carmelo Anthony finish with 31 points.
Down the stretch, and he really turned it on, didn't it? When they're looking for some scoring, Carmelo Anthony was a superstar.
Hit 9 threes.
He was like that throughout his entire international career. He has been one of the all-time great USA international performers. If
Maybe
not,
best.
I was about to say, if not the best over a long period of time.
Love him. This is Paddy Mills. Took over 2 minutes out from halftime. He puts the foot on the accelerator and he gets a user-friendly roll as well. He's up to 9 points in the game, including 7 in this term. Walker looking for the answer, and he has got it.
And that's what we're talking about in the last game. You heard Andrew Bogut yelling out, ice, ice, and that was to say, well, don't let him come back to the middle. I've got you to help on the baseline. But when he's allowed to accept that screen, then it's just a matter of whether he's going to make or miss the shot because there's no help available.
Nick Kay taking on Jaylen Brown. Oh, good effective finish as well from Nick Kay, who's got 4 in the game on 2 of 2 shooting. Seesawing affair with Australia back on top, although Jaylen Brown has got other ideas and gets it now to Kemba Walker. Started on the bench in this game, but he's rapidly exploded to 12 points to lead all scorers. Here's Mills. Got Mitch Creek in support. He goes hard to the rim, off the glass just a little too hard. Cover D from Brown. Just worried him out of it. As Tatum grabs it next. Still yet to score in the game, but if you're going to open your scoring account, do it like that.
That is a beautiful drive straight down the middle, and with the right hand stuffs it in. And that'll help get him going as well. Great drive, and USA doing a good job just weathering this storm. A little bit of a semi-storm by the Boomers.
Well, 10 lead changes in this term. It has been an outstanding action as Bogut goes to work. He gets it done. Chance at a 3-point play.
And look at Tatum. He's on the wing. Nick Kay reluctant. You saw him just take a swipe on it, and that's usually the rules. When the guy's in the corner, that's the highest percentage 3-point shooter, so you don't want to come off the help on there. There needs to be some split line help from the weak side, and if it's not there, that's what's going to happen. They're going to stuff it through the rim, Case.
I like this from Bogut as well. He is able to create opportunities not only for himself, but because of his terrific passing ability, they have to play him, and he's a difficult cover. Can't get the finishing touches. Ball knocked down out of court by Nick Kay. In fact, Bogut had more assists than rebounds in game 1. And here's Dave Barlow, late replacement for Jonah Bolden. Barlow checks into the game. What a story that has been as Bogut gets a rest. 2-time Olympian, 2-time World Championship player, and a 4-time championship winner here in Australia with 3 different teams. 35 years of age. He may be pound for pound the strongest player in our domestic NBL. How about that finish? Nice work there from White. He got clear access to the basket and puts the USA back on top.
Yeah, after some great defensive sets, really did a good job restricting the field goals of Team USA. The last couple of minutes, it's just been the straight penetration. Barlow with the help from the weak side that time, but just a fraction late.
Shot clock, game clock, 1 second differential as Mills penetrates. Tough shot, never looked likely. Tatum with the rebound, and he's off and running. Last play of the first half. They work it for Brown in the corner. This is after the event, not going to count. Didn't tumble anyway, but an entertaining first half. With the USA enjoying a 1-point lead.
And they have had less assists tonight than they did in game 1.
And as happy as Andre Lamanis will be, he will only have to remember back to Thursday night where the Boomers were down 1 point at halftime. Exactly the same margin as we've got right here. And then a 32-18 third quarter burst from the United States. We have to make sure that on the defensive end, we don't let them get flow tonight.
There's definitely a different look about the defense by Australia tonight, and it's improved every single game. So, and it's going to need to do that again in the second half. But the encouraging thing also on the offensive end is Australia's had 26 points in the paint, and the United States only 10 in the paint. So doing a good job, and a lot of that's come from weak side action, diving, and some great passing.
Set to go in the second half. USA with a possession arrow and a 1-point lead. Saw Australia score the first bucket of the third quarter in game 1, but after that it was one-way traffic. There's Mitchell elevating it short, well short. Landale the rebound. They're out of their rhythm here, the USA. Dellavedova. Screen from Baines, who rolls to the hoop. Landale joins in as well. Rejected. What a defensive play from Miles Turner. They rush back up the floor. He started the play and he's going to finish it. It looks like from the foul line.
Down the other end, it started with, like you mentioned, have a look at the work. There comes the help. Great pass by Dellavedova. Landale goes up with the 2 hands. Turner says, no, sir, not in my house. And he leads the break. Terrific athleticism by Miles Turner.
And I expect them to come out with a different mindset. You would imagine that Pop may have been a little cranky at halftime. Speaking of these guys and challenging them, and I spoke about it earlier, their mantra is composure and poise. He will have challenged them with that.
They extend the margin. We had 12 lead changes in the first half, but it's USA by 3 here. Early stages of term number 3. Ball knocked down out of court. 12 on the shot clock here.
Looks very at home, doesn't he, Landale?
6 points, 5 boards at half-time. And he just keeps doing it. He has been the real surprise packet. This is Ingles. Guarded by Middleton. Mills looking for penetration. Scoop pass. Baines at the top for the 3. It's deep. And Turner grabs the rebound. So impressive in game 1, Turner. 15 points, 14 boards. Here he is again. Wheeling and dealing, and a nice finish as well. His first field goal of the game.
And how's the body control? Comes down, nice little drop step and beautiful touch just around the rim.
USA has scored the last 6. Baines with a clean-up dunk. And he's happy about it as well with a chance at a 3-point play.
Well, it was Ingles that made the play, though. Great pull-through. Have a look at this from the wing. Does it in slow-mo. Got there. And Baines just following it up. And that's what the big fella has to do. Not just rely on pick-and-pop jump shots. Do some of that little work. We know he's tough under the bucket. Got some athleticism for a big fella, too.
And Miles Turner, he'd be looking at his teammates saying, well, hang on, if you want me to come over and help, someone's got to get into the legs of my guy to keep him off the boards.
Australia go back to their original 5, interestingly. Dellavedova out there with 3 fouls. The USA made 1 change to their original 5. And the big man's firing. They won't mind that. But we see Kemba Walker, who started on the bench, starts here in the 3rd ahead of Marcus Smart. Oh, Mills knocked out. Good hustle there from Miles Turner.
I think we might have been a tad fortunate with that call, didn't we?
It was an interesting one, happened pretty quick, but Bobble wasn't the prettiest of plays. Gets tangled up and, oh no, maybe you're right.
Ingles guarded by Middleton, who's giving him close attention now. Not surprisingly, after Ingles had 8 points in the first half, more than he scored for the entire game. In the opener on Thursday night, oh, he looks off the D. Just didn't get enough on the shot, and Kemba Walker with a rebound and off and running. This is looking dangerous for the USA as he feeds Barnes, who works closer to the hoop and comes up with the 2. He's got 13 on 5 of 5 shooting.
And that's the worrying thing for me. If we miss shots, America are so good in transition. It doesn't matter if you get numbers back. They're good enough to be able to score against numbers.
Mills, off balance, fired on one leg, comes up with a 2. He's got 9 in the game.
That's how good he is. Picture perfect shooting technique and very crafty, good balance.
Little Dirk Nowitzki about it.
It had a little bit of it, didn't it?
That's nice as Turner provides for Chris Middleton.
And that's too easy. Need a lot more ball pressure when the player can distribute it like that. Puts a lot of pressure when you're trying to guard those cuts.
Ingles shares it. Dellavedova in space. Middleton can't finish it, but he's off to the free throw line.
You talk about that D-trans, to get some bodies back. It's the kick out, the close out, and Landale just overcommits, which you have to. Barnes has been great, and Middleton on the curl cut. No help from the screener, and the easiest of 2. And always tough on those curl cuts, and the way you can protect that is obviously the help from the screener, but a bit more ball pressure, try and get a deflection, make that pass a lot harder.
And Daly finds himself at the line because he drove, and he drove to score. Sometimes I think Daly's been guilty of driving just for the pass, then they don't come to him and he doesn't get anything, so good adjustment from him.
Landale making himself a presence. USA put a stop to it. And a chance now for Kemba Walker. Oh, look at the quicks he's got there. Too fast. He's lightning quick as he makes 2 draws a foul.
It was, and it happened so quick it was hard to follow, but I think he also did a great job of using his body. Landale was there. Here you see him on his heels, and just that little step in, and the timing of that shot never gave Landale a chance to get up and block it.
Well, he's left on an island, the big fella. He looked like Tasmania out there at the 3-point line. Kemba Walker attacking him off the dribble. And that's the mismatch.
And that's the judgment you've got to make when you're guarding those on balls. You come too high and those big fellas are out there that the smaller guards can get around them, and just got to sit back and try and make a tough contested 2 rather than getting that deep.
So the margin out to 6, the biggest we've seen in the second half. And no Kyle Kuzma tonight, finished with 12 points in game 1, but sitting out this with a sore left ankle as Landale jumps upstairs and throws it down.
A little 1-2-2 extended defence by Australia, by the United States gets exposed.
Good D from Baines there as he kept Barnes at bay, and now Ingles exploring. Rolling to the hoop, we got push there, Baines. Oh, no whistle. How about Landale though, this young man? He is making his name.
And I like the fact that Australia saw the press. They didn't try and just pass the way through it to get it over. They actually tried to attack it. And it started with the ball control of Dellavedova, got it to Ingles, who got his 6 assists for the game.
4-point margin. Took over 3 minutes played to him, number 3. Walker just throws it up after the contact. Foul's going to be called on Paddy Mills. It's going to be his first personal. 10 teams fouls overall in Australia, 14 on the USA, but they've got 3 and 2 respectively in this quarter.
They did, and you're right, Hammer. The way in which Australia beat that extended press, it's sort of like one of those token presses, but the disadvantage the American teams. When was the last time you saw an NBA team throw in a little 1-2 trap or extend the defense?
Nice tricks behind the back, step back, look good, can't complete it. Landale, the